And we are talking about shoes. Not even good shoes. Like for me, I couldn't wear those shoes. I mean, they sound soft, the leather, but they would look a little weird with me walking around with them, especially if they were size 12. Because I have very tiny feet. Because I'm a very tiny person. So, mm-mm-mm. It is not showing that I'm streaming, but I think I am, so I'm going to press play. I don't hear anything. There we go.
9:37 on June 12, 1994. D.
I think that's the third time I've heard this question this morning.
You may have, this is foundational.
This is the third time I'd like to object to it.
Sustained.
It was foundational, but with regard to, you have no knowledge of at what point the items before you were shrunk, if they were shrunk at any time.
Objection.
Overruled. Question.
I do not.
And when you talked to Mr. Darden on all these occasions, did he show you some charts that had been drawn by the LAPD back on June 21st, 1994, with the actual measurements of those two gloves there before you?
Yes, he did.
And so you saw that from those charts, that the actual fingers had actually been measured back on June 21st, right?
That's correct.
And how long did you get to have occasion to study those particular charts that he gave you?
Just a moment.
All right, anything else, counsel?
May I have just a second here?
Mr. Darden?
Just a few, Your Honor. Mr. Rubin, you testified a moment ago that there's more substance on the right glove.
That's correct.
Okay, that would be item 9, the Rockingham glove. For the record,
right
Your Honor.
The right glove.
Okay.
That's correct.
And the fact that there's more substance on the Rockingham glove, is that consistent then with that glove having been?
Objective, Your Honor.
Overruled. So far.
Is that consistent with that glove having been saturated with more liquid than the left glove?
Overruled.
I'm not 100% sure I understand the question. You want me to tell you that?
I'm just objecting further.
Overruled. He can ask clarification.
You want me to tell you what the effect of the excessive substance on the right glove did to the glove in comparison to the left glove?
No. All I want to know is this. Is there more substance on the right glove?
Yes, there is.
Does that mean that the right glove absorbed more substance than the left glove?
Sustained.
Do you know? Can you tell us whether or not the right glove absorbed more substance than the other? He asked the same question.
It appears that way.
Okay. Now, you're not, we'll strike that. You didn't watch the coroner's testimony in this case, did you?
No, I did not.
So you don't know which hand he says the killer used to.
Sustained.
Okay. You also told us that there is no cut on a finger on the left glove.
That's correct.
And that would be the Bundy glove, Your Honor?
Yes.
Now, are you aware that that glove was found at the scene at Bundy?
Object this, Your Honor. That's another question.
Overruled.
I am since I arrived here.
Okay. You also indicated that the right-handed glove had more wear and tear on it, apparently.
Most definitely.
Okay. That is than the left glove?
Excuse me?
It has more wear and tear than the left glove?
Definitely.
Okay. And having that information, does that indicate to you, or give you any indication as to whether or not the person who owned those gloves was right-handed or left-handed?
I can't determine that.
You also told us that women usually buy gloves.
That's correct.
They usually buy men's gloves.
That's correct.
So they usually get the right size.
Sustained.
Does it happen that women, when they buy gloves for their men, don't get the right size?
Sustained. I don't think we need a glove expert to tell us about shopping.
I have two diagrams, Your Honor. May they be marked 402 A and B?
All right, 402 A and B. Yes,
May the record reflect that I've indicated 402 A and B in the upper right-hand corner.
noted. And would you show those to Mr. Cochran, please? Show them to Ms. Cochran, please.
Showing you what is remarked 402 A and B. Are these the two diagrams you saw in my office?
Yes, they are.
Those diagrams indicate the amount of shrinkage to the Rockingham and Bundy gloves. Is that correct?
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
Okay. Do you know what those do you know what is depicted on those documents?
Excuse me?
Sustained.
Well, throw them on the Alamo then. Gonna throw them on the Alamo?
Counsel, let me see it sidebar. With the report. Thank you, counsel. Proceed.
Well, I have nothing further.
All right. Mr. Cochran? Certainly. One.
Mr. Rubin, with regard to the Eris light gloves there that are supposed to be a snug fit,
Overruled.
it's very difficult, is it not, to get a snug-fitting pair of those Eris light gloves off of one's hands once they're fitted on your hands. Isn't that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. The jury saw the demonstration.
I'm-
You can tell us about what it was designed to do.
These gloves, as well as most fine dress gloves, come off easiest when the hand is extended and the thumb is tucked in toward the hand to make the glove slide off easier. Any movement of the thumb upwards would restrict going on or off, obviously, and then any cupping of the fingers would restrict the glove coming off easily.
Thank you, Rick Collier.
All right, Mr. Rubin. Thank you, sir. All right, you are excused.
Thank you.
All All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we scheduled the testimony for today, it was my anticipation that we would just have a short session this morning, and I made plans to take my staff out to lunch. I'm sure you will not be surprised to learn that Mrs. Robertson has been voted the Superior Court Employee of the Quarter. I'm sure that comes as no surprise to you.
Yay, that's awesome.
And also, one of our court reporters, today is her birthday. And so we were going to go out to lunch. I would like to finish the next two quick witnesses so we can go out and do that. But anybody need to take a comfort break? We'll do that right now. Okay, let's take a 5-minute comfort break. We'll finish the two witnesses. All right.
I just did, Judge. I just stepped away for a second. Come on, get back to work. Do it on your own time. I do it on my own time.
People may call their next witness.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Let me thank the court and ladies and gentlemen of the jury for allowing us to go through the noon hour. People call Ms. Llewellyn Roberts.
All right, Ms. Roberts, come forward, please. Please raise your right hand, face the clerk.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the testimony before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please have a seat and witness.
This is live.
Llewellyn Robertson,
And would you spell that for us, please?
L-U-E-L-L-E-N, last name R-O-B-E-R-T-S-O-N.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Robertson, can you please tell us what you do for a living?
I am one of the custodian of records for AirTouch Cellular.
And what is AirTouch Cellular?
We are a provider of cellular services.
And when you say cellular services, is that a phone company of some kind?
Yes, mobile phone cellular service.
Does that company service telephones that are completely portable only, or does it also service telephones that are fixed in a car?
3 different types of phones: portable, completely portable, transportable, and also installed in the car.
What do you mean by transportable?
It can be either plugged into the car, or you can take it with you, hang it over your shoulder.
And you service all 3 kinds.
Yes.
Is there any way that you can tell by looking at someone?
Judge Ito would have to keep telling OJ to pull over. You can't drive while you're in court, OJ. I have to. Hertz Rental Car needs me.
Phone bill, whether the phone is portable completely, that is, you just take it anywhere and use it, or transportable, that means plugged into a car or taken out of the car or fixed in the car.
On the phone bill, no.
Is there some other record you have that does indicate that?
The manufacturer can usually tell.
But your company can't tell that.
No.
Can you tell us, or ma'am, what are your duties?
Mainly, my main duties are to respond to court orders and search warrants, subpoenas, any kind of requests for customer information.
Now, do you have some expertise in the interpretation of the phone records that your company generates?
Yes, I am familiar with the billing that our company generates.
And the records that are generated, that is internally in your company, as well as the bills that go out to customers, are those records that are maintained and kept in the normal course of business?
Yes.
And are they filled out in the normal course of business at or near the time of the call being made?
Yes.
We have a chart. That's all right.
I hope it's a really big chart and it's not filled in yet. That way we can fill in every single.
People's 404,
Never mind.
would that be?
403.
403, thank you.
All right, and this is a chart.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. It is a chart entitled Defendant's Cell Phone Calls for the night of June the 12th, 1994, and it bears an enlargement of one page of the phone bill for the defendant. If I may, Your Honor, I'm going to ask to put it, locate it sensitive to the jury so they can see it.
Yes.
I don't think that's true. Dave and Buster's is too far
Mr.
away.
Escobar is assisting me.
Noted. Thank
It's
you.
not Park City. There is a Raymore and Flanagan there now, but not where Sears was.
Ms. Robertson,
Yes.
now the board that is now in front of the jury, what is it depict?
Well, I personally can't see it right now,
One step down, look.
but I have a copy of what you've got there.
Okay, why don't you take the copy you have and step down and look at the chart and tell us if the chart shows an accurate and true copy of the record that your company generates.
Okay, round one is in Park City now, but not where Sears was.
Go ahead, you can have a seat now.
Sears was over on the right. Round one is on the complete opposite side.
Now, Ms. Robertson, let me ask you a couple of preliminary questions. First of all, what is the record on this chart marked 403?
This is a copy of the 12th page for the billing date June 15th, 1994, for mobile phone number 310-613-3232.
And to whom is that number registered?
Our records indicate that the account was assigned to O.J. Simpson.
And with respect to the date of June the 12th, well, let me ask you more generally. On your phone bills, including the one now marked with People's 403, is there certain information generated concerning the nature of each call made?
Each call is registered on the billing statement with the date of the call, the time, the location to which the call was made or what type of call it was, the number that was dialed, any features involved with that call, such as call forwarding, the duration of the call, what we charge, and some summary information also.
It depends what time it
Let me
is.
go through the bill that's now in front of the jury.
'Cause if it's
and I'm gonna
nights and
ask you,
weekends, it might have been
with respect to
free.
certain entries for this phone bill for the defendant, what each of the entries means. I'm going to take this as my
10:03
first
p.m. it
example.
says.
There's a phone call on June the 12th at, and that seems, it's under the date.
Yes.
Now, do these bills register every phone call made from the cellular phone?
Some calls never make it to the bill.
They were charged 33 cents and 11 cents or 31 cents. I can't tell that first number.
For the purpose of privacy of some of the numbers, we're going to make sure that all of these numbers have been changed. I believe they have.
It's way late for that now. OJ's getting calls on his phone. $23. My daughter almost got arrested for Pokemon Go. It was like 3 a.m. and she was not where she was supposed to be. She was in this business development trying to catch Pokemon. And the cops brought her home.
Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That was way before 2023, though. That was a couple years
All
before
right,
that.
so every call is not registered on the bill?
Some calls never even make it into the cellular system because of one reason or another, and so they never get processed and end up on the billing statement.
How does that happen?
What we call call blocking, maybe there's too many calls taking place near a certain cell site, and it may not make it. You get a fast, busy signal.
If the cell site is busy?
Yes,
Okay. But when when the phone being called, let me make this clear. When the cell phone is used to place a call, the number is dialed and the phone rings, will it then register on the bill?
yes,
Now, with respect to June the 12th, after that there is a column entitled Time. Does that reflect the time at which the call was made?
yes.
Is that accurate?
To the best of our knowledge, it's accurate.
And how does that time register? Is there a computer or something that registers that?
There's a timer in our switching equipment that is set, and that's the time that's recorded when the call's made.
There's a call indicated here at 2:18 p.m., and then the next column says to from location.
Yes.
And what does that mean?
This was a call that was placed to a number that is listed in the West Los Angeles Exchange.
So does
The-
that indicate the location to which the call is made?
Yes.
And then after that it says number, and what does that indicate?
Indicates the number dialed.
And at 2:18 p.m. on June the 12th, the number 310-826-0403 was called.
That's correct.
After that, there's a column that is indicated as FEAT, F-E-A-T.
Yes.
And what is that?
It's short for feature.
What does that mean?
It could include a feature, maybe call forwarding or call waiting or three-way calling, just a feature that might have been used with that call.
In the instance of the call placed to 826-0403, there is no feature listed, correct?
That's correct.
Which means what?
Person-to-person call, no call forwarding, it's an outgoing call. There were no other parties involved in this call. It was just from the cellular phone to that number.
Now, after that, there's a column that says minutes, and in that column, for that call, it indicates 4 minutes.
That's correct.
Now, first of all, this is the bill that is sent to the customer, correct?
That's correct.
And the column that shows minutes shows 4 minutes on this bill, correct?
Correct.
Is that the actual duration of the call?
It may not be.
And why is that?
We AirTouch Cellular in their billing process rounds up to the next minute. So if you had a call
Crooks.
that lasted, let's say,
Crooks.
3.5 minutes,
Robbers.
we would charge for 4 minutes.
I'm gonna round up for YouTube. If I'm streaming for an hour and 10 minutes,
What
I'm
is
just
the
gonna
actual
round it up
duration
to
of that?
2 hours.
Do you maintain records that show the
Pay
actual
me.
duration of the phone?
My $6.
We have other records that
for the
show
day.
the actual duration, yes.
And do you have those records with you?
Yes.
Are those records kept in the normal course of business?
We keep them as a reference. They are not billing records,
I
but they're
understand that.
backup.
But are they kept in the normal course of your business?
Yes.
And are they prepared at or near the time that the call is made?
Yes.
Under employees, under a duty to do so?
Yes.
And can you tell us what the actual duration of the call to 826-0403 was on June the 12th?
At 2:18 p.m., the call was for 3 minutes and 9 seconds.
Counsel, I believe we've already marked the phone records marked and introduced the phone records belonging to Nicole Brown that indicate her phone number is 310-826-0403. I'll have them pulled for counsel. With respect to the bottom 2 numbers that are highlighted on this chart, they indicate for the date of June the 12th,
Yes.
and the time 10:03 p.m. Would that be an accurate time for those phone calls to have been made from this cellular phone?
Yes.
I'm going to back up for a moment and ask you to interpret a couple of other entries here. After the 218 phone call to 826-0403, Nicole Brown's number, we have 2 more phone calls made at 2:22.
That's correct.
to Nicole Brown at 2:18. Does the time registered at 2:22 for those two incomplete calls appear to have come immediately thereafter?
Yes, immediately thereafter.
Counsel, may it be stipulated that the phone numbers registered under these two incomplete calls at 2:22, that is 305-582-6952, is the phone number in Florida for Paula Barbieri, was on the date of June the 12th.
Was so stipulated, was.
And may it also be stipulated, counsel, that the phone call indicated at 2:23 to West Los Angeles at 310-470-3468 was the West Los Angeles phone number for Paula Barbieri as of June the 12th, 1994.
So stipulated, Your Honor, was.
Yes. Thank you kindly, counsel. With respect to the incompletes noted at 2:22 for the 305 number for Paula Barbieri on June the 12th, can you indicate to us what that means?
This means that at 2:22 p.m., there were two calls placed within that minute time frame to area code 305-582-6952, which were incomplete calls, meaning that the call was never picked up at the other end. Either there was no answer or it was a busy.
You indicate on the phone bill here for those two calls 1 minute each.
That's correct.
Do you have an actual duration for those calls in your records?
And they are still crooks.
Can you tell us what they were?
For the first call, the duration was 46 seconds. The second call for 13 seconds.
Now moving down to 2:23, is that an accurate time for the call on June the 12th to Paula Barbieri's West Los Angeles number
Yes,
at 470-3468?
that's correct.
So that was placed at 2:23.
Correct.
It indicates the duration of time to be 2 minutes for that call.
That's correct.
What is the actual duration for that call that you have listed in your records?
1 minute and 27 seconds.
And following that entry on June the 12th, there is an entry at 2:24. Is that an accurate time for that phone call, ma'am?
Yes,
It's indicated as incomplete for the phone number of Paula Barbieri in Florida. Again, that's because the call did not go through.
that's what it says. Yes,
I mean,
it's
was not picked
incomplete.
up.
Right, correct,
And that could be, as you've indicated, because it was busy or just not answered.
correct.
And the duration of that call is indicated here as being 2 minutes as well.
Correct.
Could you tell us what is the actual duration of that phone call?
1 minute and 30 seconds.
And just below that, at 2:24 on June the 12th, is that the accurate time for that phone call?
The call below the 2:24 call?
No, the 2:24 call. Is that an accurate time for that next phone call?
Yes,
Given the actual duration of the call just before it to Paula Barbieri's West Los Angeles number, would this call have been placed immediately thereafter?
yes,
And this call is to 305-582-6952, Paula Barbieri's number in Florida?
yes.
And what does that indicate with respect to whether or not the call was picked up by anyone on the other side?
It could mean anything, whether it let it ring, he let it ring, or whoever was using the phone let it ring for 1 minute and 27, 1 minute and 30 seconds.
And so that call at 2:24 to Paula Barbieri's number in Florida was incomplete as well?
That's correct.
And the duration was, I'm sorry,
2 minutes.
on the phone bill?
Oh, the actual duration. 1 minute and 30 seconds.
And so we have 4 calls to Paula Barbieri immediately after the call to Nicole Brown at 826-0403.
4 calls in total that day, yes.
Now, right after that 2:24 entry in the afternoon of June the 12th, we have an entry here at 6:56 p.m. that says message MGR.
Yes.
What's message MGR?
It's a voicemail system for your cellular phone number.
And what is that?
You can leave a recording that says, "I'm away from my phone. Please leave a message. I'll call you back." So what this means is that someone attempted to call this mobile number, 310-613-3232, and the call was forwarded to the message manager.
So that message manager there at 656 is an incoming call to the mobile phone?
Yes,
And that call, under feature, you have CF.
right.
What does that mean?
It means that no one picked up the cellular phone or answered the cellular phone, so the call was forwarded to the voicemail system.
So this, the defendant's cell phone received a call at 6:56 p.m., which was not picked up by him. It was picked up by the message manager.
That's correct.
And you have a duration of the call, that incoming call at 6:56 p.m. as 5 minutes on the bill.
Yes.
What was do you have the actual duration for that?
I do not. That is not here on this record.
She's pleading the fifth because it's criminal.
On June 12th, again,
Criminal.
at 8:55 p.m., you have message manager.
That's correct.
And again, that's an incoming call.
Yes.
And you have CF under the feature indicating again that the voicemail picked up that call
Yes.
because the cell phone was not answered.
That's correct.
All right, now after 8:55 p.m., on June the 12th at 10:03 p.m., we have a call. Is that an accurate time, ma'am?
Yes.
A call to West Los Angeles, to Paula Barbieri's West Los Angeles number, indicates the duration to be 1 minute.
That's correct.
What is the actual duration of that phone call according to your records?
33 seconds.
And then there is a second call. It's registered here at being 10:03 p.m. as well.
That's correct.
Okay, so the second call immediately following that first call,
Yes.
Hi, Raven.
this one indicates
We
what
are
with
probably
respect
going to get done
under the title of 2 in front
around the new
location.
year.
That it was an incomplete call.
Again, for the same reason stated before.
Ah,
Yes.
have fun,
And
Zach.
to
Good
Paula
luck.
Barbieri's Florida number at 582-6952.
Yes.
And the duration shows 1 minute on the bill. Can you tell us what the actual duration of that phone call was?
23 seconds.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
5 billion, I think. Sounds about right. It's forever. Takes forever. And now they need another second. No. No more seconds. You've already had too many seconds. More? You want more? This is not a second, sir. Yeah, but we don't really see him that much. He's there. We see him come up to the table every once in a while, but we don't actually get to see him do anything important.
Morning, Ms. Robertson. How are you?
Good morning or good afternoon.
With regard to these records that you've gone through with Ms. Clark, let's take, for instance, the incomplete phone call on June 12th at about 2:13 p.m. in the afternoon. If
Okay.
one, first of all, in calling the 305 582-6952 number, that number, you could call that particular number, and the person who has that 305 number, if it's a portable phone, could be in California. Isn't that correct? Or any place in the United States. Isn't that right?
They could be.
All right. So the question would be as to whether or not the 305 number was a portable phone. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
All right. Now, with regard to shifting to the two phone calls that were in rapid succession at about 2:22, that are both labeled incomplete on the People's Exhibit here for identification. With the number 305-582-6952 were called for approximately 1 minute. In that instance, it would have been possible to a person in a vehicle to make that call, for the phone to disconnect. Perhaps you went into an area where there were no cells or whatever, and if you lost contact, turn around and call right back again. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
In fact, if you have a car phone, you know that's a matter that happens very frequently, doesn't it?
Yes.
That you'll be driving along, you'll have a number, for some reason because the cells or something happens, you'll lose contact with the person you're trying to call or whatever, you have to then dial back. Isn't that correct?
That's considered a dropped call.
All right. And so, and that would also show in here as an incomplete, would it not?
Actually, it would show up as a completed call, but it would have a star next to it that showed that it was dropped.
All right. But drop. But as an incomplete call, if you were making a call to the 305 number,
Yes.
and as you got through the call, all of a sudden you lost contact, and you then dialed it again, that would be consistent with the two incompletes if you weren't able to complete the call. Is that correct? You made them in succession?
Yes.
All right. And in fact, on this particular date, you alluded to the fact there were, I think you said 4 calls made to the 305 number,
In total, yes.
all told. And each of those 305 calls were all incomplete. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that meant that the caller was not able to reach whoever the person was on the 305 number. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. With regard to the call at 2:18, that was a completed call. Is that correct?
Correct.
And
This
on
is
the record here,
useless,
it shows that call
But I love
lasted
snow for you. That's
approximately
awesome.
4 minutes. And what was the exact time of that call, according to your records?
3 minutes and 9 seconds.
And again, you just rounded it up on the bill. You rounded up to like 4 minutes.
That's what our billing system does,
Okay.
yes.
And that was a completed call
Yes.
at 2:18.
Correct.
And you don't have or don't show any other calls to the number 826-0403, an area code 310, after 2:18 p.m. in the afternoon on June 12th, do you?
No, sir.
That's the only call your records reveal on that date. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you're aware that number was registered to Ms. Nicole Brown Simpson on that date?
I am now.
All right. You're aware of it today, right?
Yes.
And you show no other calls. And you show no other calls to that location that day, do you?
No, I do not.
All right. And then lastly, ma'am, with regard to the 2 calls at 10:03, on the people's chart here, it's shown that these calls both occurred at about 10:03. Is that what your records show?
Yes, sir.
And that would indicate to you these calls are made again in succession. Is that correct?
Yes.
And with regard to the first call, the one to the 470-3468 number, was that a completed call?
Yes.
Was that a message left, or did the parties talk, or what happened, you know?
There's no way of indicating that here.
So there was some kind of a completed call,
Yes.
or something picked up that phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. What if that 305 phone, what if the 310 number had some kind of an answer machine? Would that show as a completed call?
Yes.
So if you dial that would show as a completed call, even though it's 1 minute. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so we're clear, how long was the 612-1003 call to West Los Angeles that your records show 1 minute? How long was that call in duration?
33 seconds.
And then there was a call right after that to the 305 location. And that was, you have that marked incomplete.
Correct.
And how long was that?
23 seconds.
So there was only a 10-minute difference between the so-called completed call and the incomplete call? Correct, that counts as correct. There was only a 10-second difference between the so-called completed call and the incomplete call?
That's about right, plus or minus a couple seconds.
Yeah. One was 33 seconds, one was 23 seconds?
Yes.
All right. Can I have just one last second?
The way he phrases it, the so-called completed call, it's not a so-called completed call. It's a completed call. It's a completed call. He makes it sound sinister. Oh, Nan. Nan ain't gonna get no rest today, none. Put OJ on for him. He'll feel better.
With regard, just one or two last questions. So that I'm clear. With regard to the 1003 call on 612 to the 310 number, the bill that you see there in the 33-second actual time, would that be consistent with the call being placed to an answering machine and the caller completed a message or whatever to that answering machine?
It could be.
All right. And then the later call, the call directly after that, which is marked incomplete, to the 305 exchange, would that be consistent with the call that was not complete? Is that correct?
Not complete, yes.
And if that 305 number was a portable number, that person could be in Las Vegas or in Los Angeles or any place. Is that correct?
They could be anywhere.
All right. You can't tell that from your records?
We cannot.
Now, you mentioned something about a manufacturer and telling where calls were made from. Do you have those records with you? You don't have those records, do you?
I think she testified that the manufacturer could tell what kind of phone it is.
All right. And that's the court correct?
That's my understanding.
All right. And you don't have any records from any manufacturers? That's
No,
my
sir.
question. All right. Thank you very kindly. Thank you, Your Honor.
No further questions.
All right. Ms. Robertson, thank you very much. You are now excused. All right, next witness.
Let me offer to stipulate, I believe counsel has agreed, I will stipulate that as of June the 12th, Nicole Brown's phone number was 310-826-0403.
All right, ladies.
And we also have a stipulation regarding the other two members.
I thought we already did. You want to do it again?
Nan, you gotta let her handle it.
Shall we do it again?
You gotta let her
All right,
handle
why don't you
it.
take the exhibit down, Ms. Robertson, you can leave. Thank you. Take the exhibit down.
Yes, you want me to do the stipulation?
Yes. Say it over.
Just need to look at the board while I'm doing it, Your Honor.
All right.
He'll be
Counsel, may it be
fine.
stipulated that as
He
of June
will.
the 12th, 1994, the phone number 310-470-3468 was belonged to Paula Barbieri, and that as of June the 12th, 1994, the phone number 305-582-6952
You know-
also belonged to Paula Barbieri, but in Florida.
Completely useless testimony, but at least it was super quick. Super quick.
Do it one more time. With respect to the phone number 305-582-6952, that was also a phone number registered to Paula Barbieri as of June the 12th, 1994.
So stipulated.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I instructed you yesterday, a stipulation is an agreement between the attorneys as to the facts that the stipulation relates to. You are to assume those facts to be true for the purpose of this trial. Next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Ms. Kathleen Delaney.
For the record, that is not my last
Is she available
name.
immediately outside?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Is she immediately outside? All right, good afternoon, Ms. Delaney. Would you please raise your right hand and face the clerk, please?
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please have a seat in the witness stand and state and spell your first and last names for the record.
Kathleen Delaney, Kathleen Delaney.
Ms. Clark.
Thank you. Ms. Delaney, can you please tell us what you do for a living?
Yes, I'm an attorney for the Mirage Casino Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada.
And as such, what are your specific duties?
Part of my duties include custodian of records for the hotel.
And in your capacity as custodian of records, are you familiar with
Speaking of
the records
crooks.
maintained by the hotel and the
Hey, Anna
manner in which they
Banana.
are prepared?
How many
Yes, I am.
pounds? How many pounds
Did you bring
today?
with you some records reflecting whether someone by the name of Paula Barbieri checked into the Mirage Hotel on or about June the 12th, 1994?
I did.
Can you please retrieve the records that are relevant to this determination? For the record, Your Honor, counsel has received a copy of all records, and I only intend to mark those relevant.
All right.
You have, I see in front of you a record that appears to be a computer printout.
That's correct.
Yes, you may.
And underneath that, I see that you have another record. Is that a duplicate?
That is a duplicate, yes.
That appears to have writing on it?
Yes, that would be my writing.
Your writing. All right. Counsel has agreed we can show this on the ELMO. We're going to block out the information relevant to other parties who would probably not appreciate the publicity. Okay. Oh. No.
She answered one damn question, guys. And you're doing this?
With respect to this record, Your Honor, I ask that it be marked Peoples 404.
People's 404.
All right, it's showing on the screen right now, ma'am. And if you need to refer to your copy with the notes on it, please do so.
Okay, that would probably be easier.
Now, first of all, can you tell us whether or not this record is a record that is generated by the Mirage Hotel in the normal course of business?
It is.
And is it compiled by employees under a duty to do so?
Yes, it is.
And is it also compiled at or near the time of the event? That is, the check-in or the information is entered with respect to a party checking into the hotel?
Yes.
Can you tell us, ma'am, what is shown in terms of information concerning the check-in of Paula Barbieri to the Mirage Hotel on this form?
This particular screen is actually the reservations division, the reservations listing by name, which is one section or one division of our computer system. And with regard to this form, what it shows is that a reservation was made for the name Paula Barbieri. The reservation was made on June 11th, 1994, and then it contains information regarding how that reservation was guaranteed.
All right, if I may, Your Honor, I'd like to highlight the areas the witness is talking about since there are so many numbers on this.
Oh, that is good news. Are you going to take care of her?
All right, ma'am, with respect to the name, I'm going to highlight. You tell me if I'm doing the right thing.
That's
Where
correct.
I'm about to highlight, that's the name of the customer?
That's correct.
Or the name to whom the room will be registered?
That's correct.
Is there an indication on this form as well when the reservation was made?
Yes, that would be if you follow the line where the name appears all the way across, you will see a date portion, and it'll say 6/11/94. There are no slashes dividing that date, but you should see that.
And would that be right there?
That's correct, and you can see above it on the report where it indicates that's the date column.
I see. And that would be right here?
That's correct.
And I've highlighted
There
those.
should be a monitor right
I'm sorry,
there. You
okay.
go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's easier.
And for the record, I've highlighted where the witnesses guided me to, and I guess the exhibit will be the best evidence of that. Now, with respect to, then it was, that room was reserved for Paula Barbieri on June the 11th, 1994.
That's correct.
And there's an indication, I'm going to move it to the middle. It shows petite plan A. What's that?
That is one line that we have to give detailed information which the reservation clerk might feel is important regarding that reservation. Any information that can't fit on that line would then scroll on over to the comment screens, which would appear on the checkout sheets. So this would have detailed information regarding the reservation that we would have been given at the time the reservation was made.
What does petite mean?
Petite would be one of our room types. It's a petite suite.
And then it says, attention Dorothy.
Yes, actually, directly after petite, it says Plan A. That's the rate plan at which the room was reserved and then rented at. The attention Dorothy is the designation. The reservation clerk always indicates the name of the travel agent, if there is one, who made the reservation. So that would be Dorothy, the travel agent, and just above her name, you will see the name Teasel Travel. That would be the company that Dorothy works for.
And I see below Teasel Travel, it says CC Holder, Michael, and then it goes down to Bolton.
Well, what this record does is on this line it says CC means credit card holder, Michael, and then again, we only have the one line within this division, this reservations division of our records. Any comments, we have unlimited comment space. It would scroll down to the remainder comment screens, which would be in the checkout division. And the name Bolton does appear on that particular record.
For the record, I've highlighted where it says CC Holder, Michael, and then I'm going to highlight Bolton on the line below. Have I done so correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
And what does that indicate?
That would indicate that per Dorothy with Teasel Travel, who spoke to our room reservations clerk, that reservation was guaranteed by Michael Bolton, and there's a credit card number that would pertain to that reservation.
You aware who Michael Bolton is?
I know of a singer named Michael Bolton.
Was he performing in Las Vegas at that time, to the best of your knowledge?
I am not aware if he was performing, but I am aware that he was staying at the hotel during that time.
On, as of what, June the 11th or June the 12th?
As of June the 12th.
Now, over to the side where, the left-hand side of the page as you face it, where it says comment, I see 6/11/94 and 15:55. Can you tell us what that means?
That would be the time that the reservation was taken. And I might indicate you're showing a person's name there on the...
Just realize that. I'm going to try and, I'm going to cover that up right now with
Okay.
my fingers and ask that Mr. Fairlow hide that information. And I'm going to just highlight that. 15:55, I'm going to take this down now. But 15:55 on June the 11th indicates,
when the reservation was received.
and 15:55 is military time, is it?
That's correct.
For what?
3:55.
I'm going to ask that Mr. Fairlow be allowed to black out the name that goes to another customer.
It actually might be more accurate to say that that would be the time that the information was inputted into the system.
And would the information then have been given at or near the time of that input?
Absolutely, immediately after.
So it would have been very near, almost, so the time of 3:55 on June the 11th would have been within minutes after having received the information, that is the reservation for Paula Barbieri?
The reservation clerk would have a headset, would be receiving the information, and would be inputting it into the computer as it's being received. But, you know, in terms of all of the information that's contained here, some may be inputted after the call is terminated, but it would all be contemporaneous.
Now, can you tell us if you have records reflecting exactly when Paula Barbieri checked into the Mirage Hotel in Las Vegas?
Yes, I have another document, which would be a guest registration card, which was provided, and that would indicate the time of check-in.
I may see it. Okay, I'm going to show it.
We also have in our checkout screen an indication of the arrival and departure times, and they correspond.
And is that a separate record that you're referring to, ma'am?
That's correct.
Can you show us which one that is?
Yes, that would be.
All right, now the record you've just shown myself and counsel appears to have a cutoff.
The better question is, who is juror number 7? I wonder if Google knows.
That's all right.
Sorry. Okay, with respect to the first bill that I've just shown to Mr. Cochran, there appears to be a signature at the bottom,
That's correct.
and it's a little bit cut off. Can you tell us what happened to the lower right-hand corner?
It appears to be partially obscured.
Brenda
It would be a flaw in the
Moran, a computer
the
technician.
process of putting it onto the microfiche. All of these records are kept and maintained on microfiche, and there would have been a flaw.
Now, there does appear to be a signature there.
Yes.
Does it appear to be most of the name Paula
She's writing your
Barbieri?
book.
I see the name Paula, and I see the last name Barbie.
That's
and-
and then it cuts off.
I
and then
don't
it
know
cuts
if she
off.
finished
Is
the
there,
book.
however, also her printed name on this form?
Inside
Yes, directly to the
the
left of
Simpson
the
jury,
signature and
the
address block.
parallel
And does
universe.
it reflect on this form what time she checked in?
Yes, it's just above and to the left of the name and address block, and it indicates 13:59 military time or 1:59.
Yep. Oh wait,
So at
no
At
book.
1:59 on June the 12th, she checked into the Mirage Hotel
That's correct.
pursuant to the reservation by Michael Bolton made the day before.
Correct.
Now, there appears to be a partial address underneath her signature.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to block that out, but I would like to allow the ladies and gentlemen of the jury to see this record with,
Thanks, Riven.
counsel, I'm blocking out the address. Your Honor. I blocked it out, and we're also going to put the piece of paper over it.
I absolutely would write a book. 100,000%. It would be done by the time the jury gave its
Thank you,
verdict, which would be me. So
All right, then, on this bill, it indicates, now, once again, is this a record prepared by the Mirage Hotel in the normal course of business?
Yes, it is.
And is this record prepared by an employee under a duty to prepare such records?
That's correct.
And is it also prepared at or near the time of the event, that is, of the check-in of the person that is indicated on the form?
Yes.
a couple times.
Can you tell us where on this form it's indicated what date Ms. Barbieri checked in?
There is a box on the top line that has a heading Arrival, and it indicates 6/12/94.
I'm going to remove this for a moment, Your Honor. We have a credit card number indicated on it.
All right, counsel, can we
Probably.
speed this up? I mean, is the issue the check-in and the check-out times?
Yes, Your Honor, almost done.
All right.
Okay, for the record, I've highlighted the date and time of arrival of June the 12th at 1:59 p.m., and I'm going to ask to leave this record with Mr. Fairglow so that he can block out the identifying information.
I would have, because I would have been asleep.
And is there an indication as to when she checked out? Do you have a record for that?
Yes, again, a screen I mentioned a moment ago, the third of the 3 division screens in our tandem system is considered a checkout listing by name. We have that record, and that not only shows the arrival time, it shows the checkout, and it contains various other information, including all comments made during that particular guest's stay.
And what record is that?
I would call it checkout listing by name. It's a checkout division printing, computer printing. And I handed it to you a moment ago. You should have it. It has other people's names on it again, as did the prior document. Ms. Barbieri's information is towards the bottom of that document.
All right, I'm folding it down now so that I can reveal just the information pertaining to Ms. Barbieri.
There is one additional name below Ms. Barbieri, which you might want to block out.
Do that as well. I'm just going to fold it. And that last record, Your Honor, I asked that it be marked Peoples.
405.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have the record referred to by the witness. I'd like it to be marked Peoples 406. I may.
Thought we just marked it. But proceed.
This is another record.
All right, proceed.
Is this the folded version of the record you just referred to, ma'am?
Yes, it is.
And again, with respect to its preparation, is this prepared?
It's really
for
easy.
Business, the Mirage Hotel?
It's
Yes.
good.
By
It's a
people
good
under
place.
duty
They're
to do
very
so?
nice.
Yes.
At or near the
Very,
time
very
of the
nice.
events that are reflected in that document?
Yes,
And does this document reflect when Ms. Barbieri checked out?
it does. As a matter of fact, you've partially folded, I believe, or maybe you just caught that. It should be at the very top on the right-hand side of the screen, arrive, and then it has a 6/12/94, 13:59. Then just below it, depart, 6/15/94 at 13:46.
All right. And
Military
we are
time.
zooming in on that now.
The times are to the right, yes.
And I'm going to highlight that for the record. So it reflects that Ms. Barbieri checked in at 1:59 p.m. on June the 12th and checked out at 6:15. I'm going to take it. And she checked out on June 15th at 1:46 p.m.
Correct.
All right, anything else?
Nothing further.
Mr. Cochran?
Judge, if you do not rush him like you just hounded her. Thanks, love. Judge, you better yell at him for taking time. I'm telling you, I just the way they treat her is unfreaking believable.
Good afternoon, counsel.
Afternoon.
With regard to the records we've just seen, are you aware that on that particular weekend, Michael Bolton was hosting a celebrity softball game in Las Vegas on Sunday, June 12th?
I'm not aware of that in particular. I remember the event
Right.
taking place at some point in time.
And you knew it was on that particular date, on or about June 12th?
I'm not aware of what date it was.
But you, from checking your records as a custodian of records, you were aware that he had maintained and brought a number of people in and guaranteed their rooms at the Mirage, had he not, during this time frame?
I know that he was staying there personally. I'm not aware of what other reservations might have been made by him or under his name.
You didn't have occasion to check those?
They didn't appear in
Hubby's coming
correlation to Ms.
home?
Barbieri's records, and the subpoena was limited to that.
It was
It was
iffy
limited to just
yesterday.
Barbieri, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So there may have been others and other people who were there as his guests, but you weren't asked to look at that, is that correct?
No.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I'm
Yay.
And were you aware also that on that Monday, which I guess will be June 13th, that Michael Bolton had a concert at the Thomas and Mack Arena there in Las Vegas, unveiling his new video?
I was not aware of that.
Were you aware of whether or not Paula Barbieri had been in that video, his musical video?
No, I'm not aware
Not
of
aware
that.
of that either?
No.
All right. Well, thank you very kindly. Nothing further.
Ms. Clark, anything else?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you very much, counsel. You're excused.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the day. Let me say one other thing to you, however. When I was commenting to you earlier about the fact that the prosecution anticipates resting perhaps at the end of next week, and I indicated to you that means perhaps we've finished half of the case at this point, I misspoke myself because, as you recollect, the defense has no obligation whatsoever, as I instructed you at the beginning of the case, to present any evidence at all. So at this point, all we're certain is that the prosecution may be concluding their case by the end of next week. All right? I think you recollect my initial instructions regarding the burden of proof. All right, well, as far as the jury is concerned, we will stand in recess until 1:30, and I'll expect counsel here at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for the hearing. All right, we'll be in recess.
Oof. 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 I'll expect counsel tomorrow morning for the hearing. What hearing? Sanctions! Oh, we're going to get some...
Hasty completed a thesis under my
Wait.
direction in 1993, and we conducted a fairly extensive examination of the
Yes, sir.
means for testing for independence.
Oh, it's Australian. Yes, sir. But something's wrong. All right, we did start at the very beginning of the video, but something is wrong, guys. Something is wrong. Hold on. Oh, this Australian accent's here for a while. Oh, God, I'm so excited. No, there's no hearing. We ended that video exactly when it ended. We started this video exactly when it started. We missed the hearing. We missed the sanctions. I don't know if there were sanctions. But oh man, this accent is with us. This accent is with us for so long. We're going to forget we're listening to an accent. But we can enjoy it so far.
Amongst the various components of a DNA profile. His thesis was completed and it's been on the record since 1993.
It's DNA.
The first paper
Oh,
from
God.
the thesis appeared in print last week in the journal Genetica.
I'd like to turn your attention to what appears to be page 4 of your CV. And beginning on that page, are there publications listed of which you have either been sole author or co-author?
Well, starting on page 4 and then running some pages, it lists my...
You know, before I started watching this trial, I was very excited about DNA. CRISPR, very excited about CRISPR. Very, very. And now I'm traumatized to the point that I don't even know. This guy's going to go over DNA with us, and I just showed you he's going to be here for a while. So get your rum out, guys.
Complete publication list, yes.
And is that approximately 100 publications in total?
That's right.
Do they include a range of topics?
Well, yes and no. They're all involved in statistical analyses of genetic data. Some of them are purely theoretical. Some of them are applications of these methods to specific data sets, human, Drosophila, barley, maize. It doesn't really matter as far as my work is concerned what the organism is. Whenever genetic data are collected, then I'm happy to be involved in their analysis.
Have your publications included a substantial number dealing with human genetic characteristics?
Yes, in two different directions. What I'm primarily interested in is looking for associations of genetic markers with human diseases. I think that's very important and very exciting work, and I've had several papers in that field. And as I said earlier, I've also been involved in the forensic arena recently, so I have had several papers targeted specifically to the kinds of data used by forensic scientists.
I'd like to call your attention, if I could, to two publications in particular. The first on page 5 that I believe is labeled number 29, titled Inferences About Linkage Disequilibrium.
Yes, that's a paper we published in 79, talking about the methods to detect associations or lack of independence between elements at different genetic loci. It's it's one of my, I think, one of my more important papers. It's served as the foundation for a lot of our subsequent work.
All right, when you use the term independence among loci, can you tell us a little bit more about what you mean?
Well, it goes back to Mendel's second law, of course. What we are interested in knowing is if the information transmitted from parent to offspring at one locus, one region of the genome, is transmitted independently of information at different loci, different regions. For loci on different chromosomes, we would expect to find such independence, although, as I showed in my thesis in 1968, even loci on different chromosomes may have some slight dependence on the frequencies imposed by the size of the population and the mating structure. I'm digressing. The point is that we laid out in that paper some of the methods appropriate for detecting associations, regardless of the biological cause. And I think we need to stress that today. We are not interested in the biological mechanisms as much as in the consequences. What do the data look like? Do they exhibit independence, and therefore may we proceed to use product rules, or do they not show consistency with independence, in which case we need to do something else?
In other words, basically you're looking at whether or not different regions of DNA may be linked in some fashion.
Good
I
call.
would prefer to use the word associated. Linked has a technical term, and we're not talking about linkage, we're talking about associations.
Turning your attention, if I can, to page 9 of your CV, in particular a publication numbered 89 entitled Effects of Inbreeding on Forensic Calculations. Was that another paper that you personally authored?
Yes, it's one of my more recent, and we always think our most recent papers are our best, but this was an invited paper for the annual review of genetics. The invitation came some time ago, and then when it came time to actually put pen to paper, I chose to write on this current area of the forensic applications. The paper was invited, but it still was subject to peer review. And although it has a somewhat narrow focus, I really took the opportunity to summarize a great deal of my thinking in the appropriate ways of analyzing the data. And I think I should say here that this, I believe, lays out the appropriate way to account for population structuring and thereby diffuse some of the problems people have felt faced by these data.
Turning to the next page, page 10, there's also a category labeled Commentaries and Correspondence.
Yes.
That appears to have 13 different items in it. Can you just tell us in summary fashion what commentaries and correspondence are?
Well, I like to remove from my publication list those things which are not
No, can you go through all 13 slowly, please?
scientific papers in the sense they've been through a peer review process and present novel scientific information. Some of these are reviews. The 1992 paper in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences was a review of the population genetic issues. I was invited by the editor of the journal to write a review, which I was pleased to do, but it did not go through a review process, a formal review. I solicited comments from several colleagues. So that is a review. Then there are several letters when I felt sufficiently annoyed with papers and journals that I would write a response, particularly to Science and Nature, who have published, once again, non-peer-reviewed, I don't want to say articles because they're not articles, they're pieces of writing. They have published items often critical of the forensic uses of DNA. I think they've given a very one-sided view of the debate, and on occasion I've managed to get a rebuttal letter published.
Now, when you refer to Science and Nature, you're referring to Science Magazine and Nature Magazine?
Yes, sir.
Turning to the next page, if we could, page 11, and in particular a category labeled books. Have you published books in the area of population genetics and their relationship with statistical data?
Yes, in 1990 I published a book, Genetic Data Analysis, which is meant to be a very broad reference work, if you like, of all the methods likely to be encountered by people generating genetic data of the kind we'll be talking about, and some other kinds. In press currently there's a book to be published by a CLUA entitled Human Identification. For that volume I acted as an editor. I solicited articles from a variety of people who have made substantial contributions to this field, and I was pleased when they agreed to write papers. The articles all went through a review process. The collection of papers has appeared already as a special issue of a journal, Genetica, and will appear as a hardcover book later this summer.
When you use the word Kluwer, is that K-L-U-W-E-R?
Yes, sir.
Turning, if we can, to what appears to be a second page 11, is that right?
Probably, yes. It does appear to be that way. It should be page 12. I'm sorry.
There's also a category entitled book reviews, is that right?
Yes, this is for really little consequence, I think. I publish reviews of other people's books,
In the same general areas you've described earlier.
generally population, genetics, and statistics.
And then lastly, on what appear to be the remaining 2 pages, there is a listing of published abstracts by you.
Yes.
Just briefly, what are those?
These are just descriptions of presentations at some meetings.
All right, Your Honor, for purposes of this hearing, I'd asked that this particular exhibit, People's Exhibit 407, be admitted.
All right, will be admitted.
Dr. Weir, I'd like to turn your attention to any activities you may have in terms of consulting in forensic
Josh.
DNA cases.
Josh.
Yes?
Hey,
First of all,
Richard.
do you engage in that type of activity?
Yes, I
Hello.
do.
What type of role do you have
Josh,
when you
are
do
you
that?
here?
Well, on cases in particular, I'm approached by both defense and prosecution attorneys to give them assistance. I've always declined defense requests because I don't believe I can argue against the forensic uses of DNA. So when an attorney contacts me for the prosecution, I ask to see a copy of all reports provided them by the forensic scientists. And I focus on the statistical aspects of those reports. I then obtain the necessary databases used by that particular forensic scientist, conduct tests of such things as association, essentially duplicate the statistical aspects of the report, and then, if necessary, I give testimony at both admissibility hearings and the subsequent trial.
Now, when you say you review the data, do you review the data in terms of not only the results of DNA testing in a forensic case, but also ultimately what are the frequencies reported to describe any matches?
Oh yes, that's part of my analysis. So.
And as far as looking at that type of data and your analysis, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for confirmation of my prior beliefs that the DNA markers used in forensic science are associated freely, that there is no evidence for dependence within or between loci.
And does that again relate to the ultimate use in a given case?
Yes, I'm sorry. Once we have demonstrated consistency with independence, then we may proceed to use the product rule. As I think I said earlier, if I find evidence for dependence, then we have to modify the production of profile frequencies.
And when you use the term dependence, would that then be the same as referring to association if you find it?
That's right, yes.
Approximately how many times have you consulted in this manner you've described?
I think I've given testimony in 16 cases.
And is that in one state or more than one state of this country?
It's the east and west coasts, California, Oregon, Washington on the west coast.
And in those instances, have you been allowed to testify as an expert in this area of genetic data and population frequencies?
Yes.
Now, as far as your own experience, and if you could describe to the court, please, how is it that in terms of these DNA typing techniques and genetic...
Oh my God. Richard, meet Raven. Raven, meet Richard. You guys should talk. You guys have a lot in common. I think you guys are a matchmate in heaven. I do. I love that love is being found right here on my channel right now today.
genetic marker results that are obtained using them, that you became involved and experienced in examining the data obtained as a result of these testings. Is that question clear?
It wasn't particularly clear.
I didn't think so. What I'm really asking you, Dr. Weir, is as far as these DNA typing techniques and then ultimately obtaining results from them, how did you gain your experience to be able to look at these results and then determine from these tests whether or not there is, for instance, any of this association?
Well, my experience really points to my entire career. Since my early publications, I've been involved in setting up methods. Not all of them, of course, directly relevant, but we talked about a 1979 paper. At that time, we were setting up statistical methods to analyze genetic data. This was, remember, a long time before DNA markers were in vogue. The methods we developed at that point have come to be seen as appropriate for the data we're currently involved with. So I think I'm qualified and have been requested to work on these issues on the basis of my publications, which, as I said, date back a long way.
And they deal with, for example, RFLP typing results and data generated as a result of that,
Oh, certainly.
as well as PCR type results?
Absolutely.
Have you, in fact, developed methods,
Come on,
that is,
Richard,
personally
say
developed
hi to
methods to evaluate
Raven.
this type of information?
Richard.
Well, I can't publish a paper unless I have something new, so my papers, I think, invariably describe new tests or new approaches to old tests or evaluations of tests. So I think it's fair to say that the methods I use are either so standard they don't need to be justified, or that they're ones that we have worked on and provided the justification.
You described around, I believe it was 1983, during your sabbatical, and I think that was the Guggenheim Fellowship period.
Yes, sir.
That obviously, or first of all, let me ask it as a question, was that around the time that DNA typing techniques were being developed?
As it turns out, probably while I was sitting in Edinburgh, Professor Jeffries was down the road at Leicester working on the methods which have subsequently came to be called DNA fingerprints.
As far as these methods that you utilized or have developed to evaluate genetic marker data, did you develop some of those methods even before DNA typing was available?
Yes, certainly.
And have you developed additional methods since DNA typing has been available?
Yes, one of the interesting aspects of the forensic uses, apart from the obvious applications, the interest to me is that the data are so discriminating. The RFLPs in particular have so many types, which is the reason they're used, that they prevented some novel challenges for such issues as testing for independence. So we had to do a little development and extension of our previous works. And then, of course, our methods must be tailored to the way the data are generated. I'm sure you've heard described Cellmark's floating bin method versus the FBI's fixed bin methods. These are different ways of generating data. Those different ways must be reflected in the methods of analysis. So I've had to accommodate those methods in the subsequent analyses.
That was actually going to be the next question I asked, and perhaps I can ask it in a somewhat summary fashion. In your evaluation of DNA typing data, do you use methods that were developed either by yourself or others even before DNA typing was available?
Yes, I think I've said that, yes.
And do you also then use methods developed either by yourself or others to evaluate DNA typing data that were developed after DNA typing was available?
Certainly, yes. I think it's necessary to perform appropriate statistical validation studies on the forensic databases.
So is it correct? I'm sorry.
Before they're used.
Is it correct to say then that many of these techniques that are even used today to evaluate DNA data have been in existence for many, many years?
Oh, certainly.
Now I'd like to turn your attention, Dr. Weir, to experience that you've previously had with Cellmark Diagnostics.
All right.
Is there any relationship between your university and Cellmark?
Yes, we have a contractual arrangement. I think it's technically called a memorandum of understanding, whereby my university undertakes to perform analyses for Cellmark.
What work do you, well, first of all, are you involved in that relationship?
Yes.
What type of work does that entail?
Currently, and the immediate reason for the contract was to evaluate their new databases. As you probably know, they have data collected from their paternity testing business, and they have culled data from their paternity records to serve as a forensic database. And Cellmark wished these new databases to be evaluated for independence.
And you have been involved in that evaluation?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the methods used in Cellmark or at Cellmark Diagnostics as far as reporting population frequency data based on DNA matches?
Yes, I am.
When did you first become familiar with the methods that they utilize?
I think it must have been late 1990. I had discussions with them, and they provided me with copies of their then current databases, and were very generous in both sharing the data and explaining in some detail how the data were collected, how they were used, explained their binning strategies and so forth. And with their cooperation, I was able to perform analyses and subsequently publish those. I think it was 1991 in a paper in the American Journal of Human Genetics.
In fact, in your CV, you list a specific reference, and perhaps we can, if you're able to point us in the direction of what publication number that publication is in which you published your own results of evaluating data at Cellmark.
That's item number 77. I say it was published in 1992.
Listed on page 8 of your CV?
Yes, sir.
And I'm sorry, that was number 77?
Number 77.
As far as your familiarity with frequency calculations and frequency data at Cellmark, does that include RFLP data?
Yes, this paper we're talking about here was RFLP. As part of our contract, we've also examined their current PCR database.
Would that conclude the genetic marker DQ alpha?
DQ alpha polymarker, yes.
And when you use the term polymarker, are you referring to 5 individual genetic markers that are collectively referred to as polymarker or PM?
That's right.
I'd like to turn your attention, Dr. Weir, to the California Department of Justice.
All right.
To your knowledge, well, first of all, are you aware of what types of data are used at the California Department of Justice in the area of frequency data?
Yes, over the last few months I've had several conversations with Gary Sims, who explained to me that Cellmark,
That sucks.
the
I was so
DOJ
excited.
uses data collected by the FBI.
Could you describe for the court, please, how and if you are familiar?
Okay. I don't remember if we saw Dr. Weir in the prelims. know that we heard his name a bunch of times. But I'm trying to remember why or how or when or where we heard his name. I mean, I'm sure it was by the DNA experts that we've already freaking heard from repeatedly. But I'm trying to remember if there's something we need to know about Dr. Weir. It's right on the tip of my brain, and it's just not coming to me.
You're with FBI data in the area of DNA typing.
Yes, I first met Dr. Podolny from the FBI, I think in December of 1989, and he asked for some assistance and collaboration on interpreting and analyzing their databases, and subsequently provided me with their current and subsequent versions of their various databases. And as a result of that initial contact, I did some work on their RFLPs and published an analysis of that, also in 1992, item number 72, a paper published in the journal Genetics. Since that time, I've kept close contact with the FBI. We have no financial or contractual arrangements at all with the FBI. I've kept close contact with them, and as they've added more probes, I've kept up, if you like, with their analysis. And the most recent data I obtained from them was in this year, RFLP, and I've also got a copy of a set of their PCR-based loci, and performed analyses on those.
So you are familiar with the FBI's databases as used by the Department of Justice in this case, both in the RFLP markers as well as the PCR markers used at the Department of Justice?
Yes, I am.
To your knowledge, does that include DQ alpha and D1S80? And I'm referring to the Department of Justice.
Yes, there's a constellation of 7 loci, DQ alpha, D1S80, and the 5 collectively known as the polymarker.
The publication you described, that publication involved your analysis of FBI data. Is that right? In particular, RFLP frequencies.
There's item number 72, and then a more recent paper, the one number 96, also on RFLP data from the FBI.
And that was published in the journal Genetics?
Genetica.
As far as your own personal analysis of data, has that been limited to Cellmark and the FBI, or has it included other forensic laboratories?
No, I've been kept quite busy. In the private sector, I've looked at data from a Life Codes, Genetic Design, and a Roche Biomedical. In the government agencies, apart from the FBI,
Okay.
the State Bureau of Investigation in North Carolina.
Unfreaking believable. This sucks. Oh, this sucks, guys. Look. Even Kardashian didn't show up for this. Even Kardashian said no. No, I'm not even gonna try. Look who's here with poor OJ. Look who's just gone. There's nobody here for him. This testimony is so useless that the entire group of lawyers on both sides just decided to take the day off. And it gets worse. We are here. I don't know if we're going to finish this today, but let's just say we finish this today. I think we should. 2, 3, 4, 5. This will make up those other minutes. 6, 7 days. 7 days we'll be doing this. 7 of our days. That's like a gut punch at the end of the prosecutions.
Finding agencies in South Carolina, Dade County and Broward County in Florida.
I think Dearden got in trouble. Dearden got in trouble. But I think that happened at the end of the trial.
Minnesota, Oregon, Toronto, New Zealand, Australia, and the United Kingdom.
Now, in these analyses that you undertake with regard to these labs, can you briefly tell us what that entails? What are you looking for?
Well, we are looking primarily for any evidence of associations between the various types. And we are also looking for measures of the degree to which different populations differ, the amount of difference in frequencies between, say, Caucasians and Hispanics.
Have you, first of all, with reference to this particular case before the court involving Mr. Simpson, have you undertaken a review of frequency data generated by both Cellmark and the California Department of Justice?
Yes.
And in the course of that review, have you produced a report?
I have a somewhat fluid report, yes.
By fluid, what do you mean?
I mean, it has been undergoing improvements.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask to have marked as, and perhaps the best method would be Exhibit 408
All right.
and 408A, and I'll describe them.
No spicy. Because
Exhibit
Bobby's not
408.
here. Bobby loves spicy.
Appears to be a report by Dr. Weir dated June 21, 1995.
Yes, Anna, do my dishes. They're not going to do
consisting of
themselves.
What appear to be one cover sheet plus pages 1 through 48. And I'd ask that 408A be a similar report dated also June 21st, but with the additional notation addendum, which appears to consist of 4 pages plus a cover sheet.
Thank you.
Which have been provided to the defense at more than one time period in different forms.
They're going to deny that.
We're showing you first what will be Exhibit 408, the lengthier document. Is that the report that you have prepared in this case?
So,
Yes, it is.
I think I was wrong. As we're going through these exhibits, you know how sometimes we skip a little bit to the defense. And the defense puts forth some exhibits, 1,117 or something like that, right? And at the very beginning, when they did that, we were like on prosecution's exhibit 2, or 40. And then the defense put in exhibit 1,117. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to have to go through over 1,000 exhibits in this trial. Well, I think I was wrong. I don't know. I mean, I was probably wrong. I'm wrong all the time. What I think was they gave the prosecution numbers like 1 to 1,000. And then they gave the defense team, they numbered their exhibits starting at like 1,001 or something. I don't know that, but this is why I think I was wrong, and this is why it makes sense to me. We are almost at the very end of the prosecution's case in chief, and they are on exhibit 400 and something. So they would have to start giving 600 more exhibits in the last couple breaths of their case for them to hit 1,000. So I think that's why. Yeah, I don't have a dishwasher either. I have a dishwasher, but it broke. So it's there. It's actually not a dishwasher. It's a dish dryer. So I don't need a countertop dish dryer. I just wash the dishes and put them inside of my dishwasher clean to dry. And paper plates. I use a ton of paper plates because, I live with a bunch of adults. They do not cook. So I cook, and I don't feel like doing dishes all the time. So yeah, I use paper plates it's just for me. I mean, if it was for my kids, I'd whip out a plate. But if it's just for me, all my meals I can eat on a paper plate and throw it right in the trash can. And then I don't have to use my broken dishwasher to dry it.
Well, let me go a little further with Exhibit 408. First of all, that has some stamped numbers in the upper right-hand corner. Is that right?
DNA, is it 09477?
You're not involved in the placement of those numbers. Is that right?
No, those numbers are not mine.
With regard to this particular document, and it is dated yesterday, is that right, June 21st?
Yes.
Did you, since yesterday, produce what can be perhaps characterized as 2 replacement pages with some changes in data on 2 of the pages?
Yes, I did, and I should apologize, although I don't think I am completely to blame. In doing doing RFLP calculations for the DOJ report, I had included all the bands they reported in their profiles, forgetting or not knowing that they do not report frequencies on the high molecular weight bands. So that I apologize for that. I removed those bands yesterday,
I don't know why this whole conversation is making me hungry for Chinese. I have no idea.
And
So essentially replace those 2 pages.
that led to a correction of those 2 pages? In other words, the
Re-
information you obtained yesterday?
Yes.
Could you just tell us what your page numbers are for those 2 pages so that the record will be clear?
It's pages 21, page 22, and the corrections are on table 18. And I see this copy is annotated, replaces. And then on page, I believe it's page 42,
Or 41?
page 41, table 32. These are both tables referring to the DOJ's RFLP calculations, now reflecting the fact that the high molecular weight bands do not have frequencies assigned to them.
Incidentally, do those corrections in these 2 replacement pages have anything to do with DNA mixtures in this case?
Oh, no.
Now, if I can turn your attention to the shorter document, 408A, can you simply tell us briefly what that document is?
Yes, my full report contains information on mixtures, except for the RFLP mixtures on the glove reported by DOJ. I received that information later, so this addendum is simply to present really a table of frequencies for the 3 items from the glove on which there were RFLP mixtures.
So the addendum 408A refers to RFLP glove mixtures, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now-
From DOJ.
From the Department of Justice?
Yes.
As far as this case, can you describe for us the material that you reviewed to conduct your analysis?
Well, I've reviewed the various reports provided by both Cellmark and DOJ. And of course, as always in any such case, I review the appropriate databases from either the FBI or from Cellmark. Maybe this is the appropriate place to say that all my calculations rely on 3 sets of data. The Cellmark RFLP databases, both their original and their new, that's 1 set. The FBI's RFLP data on 7 RFLP loci. And then the FBI's PCR database, the whole 7 PCR loci.
As far as this review, you utilized material provided to you by both laboratories?
Yes, both their reports, which I obtained through the prosecution, and numerous telephone conversations.
That was actually going to be my next question. Did there come instances, or did there arise instances in which you had questions that you needed answers from the testing laboratories?
Yes, and in particular on the mixtures, I needed to be absolutely sure what the labs had found in their mixture studies, and I believe I now understand that, and
That's very sad.
that greatly simplified the analysis to have a complete understanding.
Did there come a time when you were asked to examine mixtures in this case as far as frequency data was concerned?
Well, I'm not sure. As soon as I obtained the reports, I proceeded to run an analysis, and then I think Ms. Khan asked me, or maybe it was you who asked me a little while ago to do a complete analysis.
Perhaps we can provide a little bit of a history. Did you produce an initial report earlier this year?
Well, yes, in December I wrote a report and began on the analysis of mixtures and didn't proceed very far at that point, merely to point out that there were mixtures available, these needed to be interpreted. But I don't believe I did any calculations at that point.
Did you perform calculations on the non-mixtures?
Oh, yes, on all the single stains that were available to me then.
And I believe you said that was as early as December?
Yes, I wrote the report and sent it late December.
Now, carrying forward to later in 1995, were you at some point asked to look at mixtures in terms of calculating frequencies?
Yes.
And you simply don't recall if that was Ms. Khan or myself?
No, I don't.
Can I just a moment, Your Honor? Dr. Weir, as far as mixtures, what I'm going to ask you to do is describe for the court, please, about the area of attaching frequencies to mixtures. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I'd like to do it slowly
That's a good idea.
and to set the language to talk about single stains first, because it's not different. When there is a single stain found to match a
What?
person of interest, to attach some numerical weight to that evidence of a match, the first step is to calculate the frequency with which random people would produce the profile found in the stain. So we loosely say we calculate the frequency of the evidentiary profile. In essence, we add up all the possible people who could have contributed. Now, the addition's kind of trivial because there's only one type there. There's a single genotype, and we add up that single genotype frequency. And that number is what we've seen reported in this case. Typically, these are given as 1 in some number, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 1,000,000. Remember that those are frequencies of the stain. It's best to interpret that number by flipping it upside down and saying the evidence is 1,000 times more likely to have arisen if it was given by this person versus if it was given by an unknown person. It's the unknown person for whom we've calculated the frequency. Now let's turn to a mixture, and if we look at all the typing, and there are more than 2 alleles at any locus.
And you're referring now to whether it's RFLP
Look
or
at
PCR
him
mark.
getting
That's correct.
ready.
Any of the loci
Take
examined,
all
if they have
kinds
more
of
than 2
notes.
alleles, we have evidence that there was more than one contributor to the stain. If we look at all the loci and found 2, 3, or 4 alleles at every locus, we have evidence that there were 2 contributors. If we found more than 4 alleles at any locus, we would have evidence of at least 3 contributors, and so forth. To keep things in focus here, let's suppose that the evidence at all the loci types has 4 or fewer alleles. The evidence points to there being 2 contributors. We want to attach the frequency. The question, remember, and it's not possible to avoid the proper framework. The framework is, how do we interpret the evidence? We believe either that the stain was contributed by these 2 particular people or 3 particular people, or it was not. The or it was not can be interpreted as this stain was contributed by 2 unknown people, or by 3 unknown people. What is the frequency with which 2 unknown people would contribute this stain? So we add up all the frequencies of 2 people, pairs of people, who between them would have this mixed stain. So if there was a single locus and there were 4 bands, 4 alleles, 1, 2, 3, and 4, we have to add up all the possibilities. How likely is it that 2 people, 2 unknown people, between them would have these 4 bands? The people might be, the first person might have bands 1 and 2, the second person have bands 3 and 4. Or it might be that the first person has bands 1 and 3, second person 2 and 4. There are a whole host of situations. It's essential to interpret the data correctly. The evidence suggests there is a mixture. To perform an analysis which ignores the evidence of there being a mixture is wrong. It is completely misleading. We must add up the frequencies under the situation suggested by the evidence. The evidence suggests 2 contributors. We must add up the frequencies with which 2 contributors between them have this mixed profile.
All right. Could I just moment again, Your Honor? Yes.
For what, sir? For what? Do you need a minute for? I don't understand.
I was going to turn to use of the OMO so that the witness could demonstrate something. However, we apparently need, if we could, have a brief recess to be able to do that.
How brief?
10 minutes, I'm told.
What do we need to have?
Just the overhead projector of the OMO system turned on, because the document's not complicated. I mean, using the document's not complicated. I think it's just...
Why don't you just hand me the document?
All right, if that's fine. I have given a copy to counsel.
All right.
Actually, let me start with using one of the boards, if I may, Your Honor.
All right.
Dr. Hero, what I'm going to ask you to look at is a particular result in this case. First of all, with regard
Why
to...
don't you go ahead and spin that around so both the doctor and I can see it, since we don't have to worry about whether the jury can see it. Thank you.
First of all, Dr. Weir, have you seen a smaller or 8.5 by 11 version of this particular board?
Yes, sir.
What I'm going to ask you to do, and first of all, in your analysis of the results in this case, did you look at what's labeled on this board as item number 29, steering wheel?
Yes.
Would that be an example that you could use, that is the actual results with regard to that item, to talk about frequencies in mixtures?
That would be fine.
That particular item contained results, and let's look if we can at simply the DQ alpha marker. Is that acceptable?
That's fine.
The particular results on item number 29 at the DQ alpha marker showed the appearance of 3 different alleles. Is that right?
That's right. And just reading from the board here, 1.1, 1.2, and 4. And I should say now that I'm taking no notice of descriptors such as weaker or possible trace. I am assuming that if the allele is mentioned, it's present.
So when you perform your own analyses, when a particular allele is described as present, you're not paying attention for frequency purposes of a description such as weaker, trace, etc.
That's right.
Now, with regard to that particular item at the DQ alpha marker, does that indicate a mixture?
Yes, there are 3 alleles, and that must, obviously, it implies more than one contributor. One person would...
As far as your review of this particular case and the
I
specific
didn't notice
results,
that.
and in particular with regard to that item,
No jury? Are they just practicing, like, to make sure that the evidence is, I don't know, I mean, they did it before. They presented some witnesses before the judge first, before they presented it to the jury. That would make sense why it's, I can't remember how many, 7 days long. 7 days long, holy crap. But I'm about to tell you guys something that keeps happening to me. And now it's just going to keep happening to you too, because when you have pain, you spread it around. Then it lowers yours. Not really. That's not how it works. But we watch a lot of court cases. So every time any of the attorneys say, in your analysis, did you find this? From your analysis, did you find that? I hear urinalysis, like testing the urine for alcohol or drugs, like a dirty test. Like all these people who are in probation and keep missing their tests, or keep failing their drug tests, their urinalysis sees their urinalyses. So now, every time you guys hear them say, in your analysis, you are going to probably think like I do and then have to reconfigure your brain to your analysis. Good. You're welcome. You're welcome.
were you asked to calculate an approximate frequency to describe that mixture and how often one might encounter that mixture?
Yes, I was, and to calculate the frequency with which 2 contributors or 3 contributors.
I want
would
more
have
knife
between
stabbing
them those
demonstrations.
All right. Your Honor, if I may, I'd like to have marked then as Exhibit 409
Yeah, that's all I've heard, Nan. It's been driving me crazy.
a one-page document that's labeled at the top, percentage of population included in LAPD number 29. All right.
I want to switch out words again. That was fun.
I'm told that if the monitors are turned on that we can proceed, Your Honor.
All right, Dr. Weir, I think there's an on button on your monitor there. I don't know if
It seems to be on.
Oh, now it makes sense. Remember, he said we were going to have a hearing. This
As
must
a
be the
foundation
hearing.
with what will be marked Exhibit 409.
That's why the jury's not here.
A one-page document. Have you had an opportunity to look at that document? You probably
Yes.
are asking yourself, what document is it? Did you have a chance,
Yes, you have showed me this page, yes.
and does that page relate to item number 29 and the particular alleles that were revealed by testing by both Cellmark and the Department of Justice?
Yes, it just lays out, without all the details, it lays out the method I used to calculate the frequency of 2 contributors to a mixture.
Very good. Actually, let me also hand a copy. First of all, Dr. Weir, there have been copies made showing you this one-page document that will be Exhibit 409. Is that the document that you
Yes.
had an opportunity to look at?
Yes, sir.
And we have an extra copy for the court also, if you could hand yours.
Excuse me.
Now, Dr. Weir, could you describe what this particular document shows?
Yes, this is, just as I said, it's to lay out the possibilities with which two people would contribute to the DQ alpha mixed stain. As we've said, the mixed stain has 3 alleles, and we know therefore it's a mixture. There is, I should say, there is no evidence at any of the loci typed on item 29 of there being 3 contributors. However, for this demonstration, we're working under the assumption there were 2 contributors, and I must stress we must work under the assumption of it being a mixture. By definition, there is more than 1 contributor. So we need to examine the possibilities. How likely is it that 2 people would have between them these 3 alleles? So you have listed out, looks like a dozen or so possibilities. The first person, for example, the first row here, the first person could be a 1.1 homozygote, the second person a 1.2 and 4 heterozygote.
In other words, let me stop you for a moment. That is one possibility when there are 2 contributors to a mixture to produce the results that were obtained by these laboratories.
That's right. If those 2 people were the contributors to the stain would look like as it does. The stain would have those 3 alleles, no more and no less, if those 2 people were the contributors.
Now, is the remainder of that left-hand column, or the 2 left-hand columns, first person and second person, simply the remaining possibilities for a 2-person mixture producing those results?
Yes, I think there are all the possibilities, all the ways in which 2 people between them could have those 3 alleles.
Is the second line a misprint? First person 1.2.
It should be a 1.24, yes, Your Honor.
I'm afraid I'll have to take responsibility for that one, Your Honor. Incidentally, this document, it was not prepared by you. Is that right, Dr. Weir?
That's correct.
So should that 1 point under the second listing of first person simply be deleted so that it would read 1.2, comma 4?
Yes.
Now, in the upper portion, and this is referring simply to the first listing of first person 1.1, 1.1, and second person.
It was way crazier than I thought it was because I missed the whole piece. Yeah, we watched the verdict. Man, we watched the verdict.
Person 1.2 and then 4. There
Never
are listed
seen anything
2
like it,
categories of
never.
racial groups. Is that right?
That's right. Excuse me.
Is this simply one listing of what, if the chart were complete, would be many more listings?
That's right. In all our calculations, single or mixed stains, when we compute frequencies for unknown people, we must recognize that these are really unknown. We know nothing about their ethnicity. We don't know which frequencies to attach. So we go through all the possibilities we have. For example, these 2 people, the first one may have been African American and the second Caucasian, or vice versa. Or one of them, the first one may have been African American, the second Hispanic, or vice versa. And we could go on, and what I have done in this case is to assume that either of the 2 people were not of 4 different ethnicities, but have frequencies I've taken from 4 different databases.
Incidentally, this chart, as is shown now on the overhead projector, is it taken simply from your report?
This is essentially an extraction of Table 29B.
And in your report, have you described all of these combinations under the first person and second person, as well as all of the major racial category combinations for both a 2-person and a 3-person mixture?
I have.
Can you describe for the court, please, and I'm referring now to, again, simply the first possible combination listed at the top, how a calculation is made by you or was made by you with regard to this mixture?
Yes. Well, I'm invoking the product rule. I'm calculating the frequency of a combination of alleles by multiplying together their separate frequencies.
So if you could just describe for us what those numbers, what are they describing that are listed under the 2 racial categories and then ultimately the frequency at the end?
All right. So the first line of the table is where the first person was a 1.1 homozygote, this unknown person, and this unknown person has frequencies which could be described by the African American database. Now, I've reported those frequencies in my report, but I'll just tell you the frequency in the FBI's PCR database for allele 1.1 in the African Americans is 0.117. So we square that frequency. It multiplied by itself because we have 2 copies of that allele for that unknown homozygous person.
Let me stop you for a moment. When you square it or multiply it by itself, is that the same process that's used for describing stains from one donor in this case?
Certainly.
And that's used across the various boards, is it?
Yes.
That you've been provided copies of?
Yes.
In other words, those are frequencies that have already, to your knowledge, been reported in court in this case.
Those are the single person frequencies, yes.
All right, proceed if you would.
So that we've accounted, now we've attached a number to the chance of the first person being of 1.1 homozygous genotype and have frequency from African American. The second person we have assumed for this calculation to be Caucasian. We don't know. We've assumed it for this calculation here. That person is a 1.24 heterozygote, so we multiply together the frequencies of the 1.2 allele. That number is 0.176. And the 4 allele, that number is 0.328. And of course, we have to double that product from the, we don't know which way round the alleles came to the person, what their parental origins. So we now have a frequency this is the 2PQ frequency for that genotype from the Caucasian database.
And again, is that the same step, that is, of multiplying the frequencies of the two different alleles and then multiplying it by 2 that's used in the reporting of single-stain DNA results?
Yes, it certainly is. Now, of course, the only novel feature of this analysis is to recognize there were 2 contributors, and these people we are assuming are independent, and we multiply their frequencies together. So, and that's the right-hand column, the 0.00158, which is about 0.15%. That's the frequency with which 2 people at random have those 2 specific genotypes, one person being African American, the other being Caucasian.
Now, do you then undertake that same analysis with regard to, and let's just stay with for the moment, the first possible combination of 1.1, 1.1, and 1.24? Do you calculate that for each of the racial combinations that are possible?
Yes. As I said, I'm using the FBI's 4 databases, so there are a total of 10 possible pairs of databases.
Do you also then, and did you, in terms of your analysis in this case, perform the same calculation for the remaining 11 combinations of DQ alpha types amongst 2 people?
That's right.
And do you, for each one of those, produce ultimately a frequency for each combination that would, on this chart, if it were totally complete, then go under the category or column of frequency?
That's right.
Once you've done that for each possible combination, what do you do next?
Add up those, sum those frequencies, sum the frequencies of the unknown contributors.
In other words, sum, in this instance, what would be 0.15%, sum the next calculation for the second combination of markers, and on down to the bottom with all 12.
That's right. We sum the frequencies of all the possible genotypes for the pairs of people that could have contributed, yes.
And in terms of your analysis in this case, as well as your report, did you report those totals for each racial category combination?
Almost. We are almost there. This is for the DQ alpha.
Yes.
We then need to repeat the calculations for the other loci in the mixture. In this case, well, I guess it's only DQ alpha here, so excuse me. So then we are complete. The sum of those 12 numbers, as I've reported here, is 1 in 71.
And that would be for what racial category?
That's when either of the contributors was African American and the other was Caucasian.
Incidentally, with regard to item 29, and let's clarify that, assuming that there were indeed, well, first of all, were you informed and provided material that there were also polymarker results on the steering wheel?
Yes, and I realize I just misled you. The 1 in 71 is in fact the number from using all the loci. So that would be the cell mark determination, DQ alpha plus polymarker. I've used all the 6 loci, done a calculation like we see on this chart, multiply those results from each locus together, multiply the sums for each locus.
Now, when you've used the example of 1 out of 71, that was just one of the combinations possible, that is, 1 African American and 1 Caucasian, correct?
That's right.
And you also performed this summing technique for each of the combinations of African American, Caucasian, Southwest Hispanic, and Southeast Hispanic?
Yes, the whole 10 combinations.
And you, in fact, produced tables showing what the frequencies would be using this calculation method for each of these combinations.
I did.
This method that you've described, in your opinion, is that an appropriate one to describe a frequency?
It is both my opinion and it's the recommendation in the literature.
And the recommendation of the literature.
Yes.
When you say the literature, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to a paper by Everett et al. In 1989, I think. Excuse me. Everett et al. 1991, Journal of the Forensic Science Society, Volume 31, page 41.
Spell the name for us.
Everett, E-V-E-T-T.
What is there about this? Well, let me rephrase that question. Did you conduct this same analysis in this same method with regard to the remaining mixtures in this case?
Yes, I did.
Does this method apply to RFLP results as well as DQ alpha results? I'm sorry. Does it apply to not only RFLP results but also PCR results as well?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd ask to be marked as Exhibit 410?
Oh my gosh, you're so smart. You're so smart, Josh. Yeah, so they were doing the DNA, and the prosecution did not add frequencies to any of their results. And the defense said you cannot show DNA results with no frequencies. You just cannot. So now we're doing the hearing to add the frequencies to all of the DNA. That's why it's going to take 7 days. Because that whole frickin' chart, which really I don't think should take 7 days. All they're doing is adding frequencies. I feel like I can add the frequencies in an hour with my calculator. And then just pop them in there. Maybe if my pen runs out of ink, my dry erase pen, and I have to drive the whole way to Staples to get another pen. And there's a long line because it's back to school, even though school already started. And I blow out my tire. I could take 1 day doing it. But 7 days? I don't even know. I don't even know. We got... Oh, it's time. That was a good stopping point. I gotta go to work, so I can't go over today. I have to get ready for work. I never work on Sundays. We're not open Sundays. And they didn't even ask me if I could work today. They just put me on the schedule and said, yeah, you're working today. Sometimes they change my schedule 8 hours before my schedule. Sometimes they change my schedule in the morning. I'm supposed to be at work 11:30. Ha, joke's on you. Supposed to be at work at 11. Ha ha ha. You know, I've never... Oh, I was 3 minutes late once. But that's because my tire blew out. I had a flat tire and was 3 minutes late. Uh-huh. I changed my tire. Uh-huh. But anyway, I gotta go to work. That's where I was going. So I gotta stop. I can't go over today. And there's nothing about what's going on here that makes me want to. Nothing is happening that makes me want to keep streaming, other than the fact that my personality type is treat it like a Band-Aid and get through bad stuff as quick as possible, you know? So I probably would stream until this guy is off the stand. Let's just keep going until this guy's off the stand. But we can't. I have to go to work. I have to make some money. And then this week is going to be rough, guys. I'm totally worried about this week. Look, I just got a text from my job right now. It is Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. What is wrong with these people? You too. Nan, I hope your grandson is okay. But more importantly, I hope you are mentally strong enough to step back and know he's going to be okay. Go wake your dishwasher up. Oh no, Jude went BRB. I'm sorry, Jude. I have to stop now. I gotta go to work. I'll see you all again in the morning. Bye, guys. Thank you so much, guys.